Successful Latinos and making their dreams come true on today's Latino USA.
Don't forget, everybody, all my beautiful people, you watch right now Latino USA, only with Power 106, and you're going to Tiro.
Welcome to this edition of Latino USA. Hello, I'm Ricardo Quintero.
And I'm Maria Costa. We're here at Zocalo's Mexican restaurant located in Alhambra.
Did you know that in Spain there's a city called Alhambra? Our first story is Roger Espinosa. He's just released his debut album, and in one of his songs he writes about a day in Alhambra.
Born in Granada, Nicaragua, moved to the States when he was 2. His father played the piano at family functions, and it was Roger who knew that making music is what he would do for the rest of his life.
It was 10 or 11 years old. My brother and I, Dexter, we would put on shows for the block. And at that time, rock and roll was really it for us. And one of my favorite bands was Kiss. And I was Ace Frehley, which is a lead guitarist, so we would wear wigs. And my mom made us costumes, and she'd put the makeup on us. My brother was Peter Criss, which is a drummer, and what we would use instead of the instruments, because we didn't know how to play the instruments, I used a tennis racket.
As Roger grew up, his feel for what type of music he played had come to a turning point.
When I first heard the Gypsy Kings, that was in 11th grade. I was just blown away. Right there and then I knew this is what I wanted to do, because as in life, we always try to find ourselves what direction we really want to go and where we want to be at, but with the Gypsy Kings, when they came into my life, I knew exactly that this is the type of style of music that I wanted to do. I played blues and rock guitar and stuff, but at the time I was wow, this is just fun, but I was kind of really looking where I wanted to be. And like I said, Gypsy Kings came in and boom, that was it. That just opened up a whole new perspective in my life.
After Roger found the style of music he had such passion for, he began to write, and Café Fuego is a result of his creations.
Café Fuego was just a bunch of songs from writing in in the attic where I used to live back in the day. Just recording, and then boom, just putting it there, and then it became a reality. I'm really happy with the outcome of the record. Day in Alhambra was, that's really a special song for me, because when I was in Spain in 2000, we actually took a trip around the Alhambra, which is in Spain. I mean, it was just amazing. And we only spent a day in Alhambra. So that's where the title of that song came about, Day in Alhambra. I want to travel, just do worldwide tours, just play everywhere, just get my face and my name known out there, and just people to really enjoy my music for what it is, not just to say, oh, here comes another Latino just playing this type of style of music. No, it's just really take it to heart, because I write from the heart. So hopefully, that'll happen for me.
Latinos have seen an increase in visibility when it comes to art and entertainment.
There are some who have helped that visibility by opening the door.
Our next story is about a veteran actress who has definitely helped open that door. Her name is Lupe Ontiveros. Born in El Paso, Texas, Lupe had no dreams of becoming an actress. She attended school and helped her parents' torteria and became a social worker. Lupe eventually found her way into acting at a time when Latino roles were very limited.
It's those first early years are trial and error, mostly error. You try, but there's error a lot of the times when you don't know what you're doing. I came into the business really very naive, so I began as an extra. And as time progressed and I was able to get more and more shows, I took classes at Nosotros. I took acting classes from very renowned people, and I started to get better and better roles. I mean, within the at that time, which is in the que sería late 70s in there. And then I began to realize, yeah, maybe this is it.
It was her role as La Nacha in the Oscar-nominated film El Norte that helped Lupe get to the next level.
El médico me ha dicho que te encuentre. Rosa está grave y puede morirse. Escucha, Enrique, se puede morir. ¿Qué no me estás oyendo?
Déjame solo. Déjame.
Está bien. Rosa se puede morir. Pero tú ya estás muerto.
I think for the first time in my life, I found out that I could do it. That I could develop a character, sustain a character, make it believable, and connect with an audience. And that's exactly what La Nacha brought to me after it was all over and done with. The feedback from the audience and the critics and everybody saw El Norte. It was a beautiful film to begin with, but I was especially surprised that I was capable of doing all that.
Lupe is most recognized for her role in the film Selena as Yolanda Saldivar, the lady who killed Selena. But the film most important to her is the role as Carmen, a mother who struggles with her teenage daughter in the HBO film Real Women Have Curves.
No. A mother knows the right man for her daughter.
Mom, you're so old-fashioned.
Can you believe her? Girls nowadays think they know so much, eh? That's why they end up panzonas.
No, Mom, the reason they end up pregnant is because they don't know how to use contraceptives.
Look at her. La Miss Know-It-All. Your husband's not gonna like you knowing so much.
Why?
A man wants a virgin.
Why is a woman's virginity the only thing that matters? A woman has thoughts, ideas, a mind of her own.
A mind, and thoughts. A Latino family, tú sabes, taking our values and our family structure and our dysfunctions, you know, and that the whole world sees it, but is able to identify and bring it into themselves and say, yes, this is very much like my family.
Lupe has just finished her first season as the wisecracking grandma on the WB Greetings from Tucson.
So, you guys have any big plans to go out of the house this weekend? Maybe see some friends?
What's the point of having a house? To get away from friends.
You have to have friends to get away from them.
David, what did you do?
It wasn't me. Maybe that satellite dish you made out of a trash can lid finally fell.
Let me tell you, the best part of Greetings from Tucson is Peter Murrieta, the executive producer and creator of the show. Next to him is the talent and the cast ensemble that we have. It's made up of veteran actors like Julio Mechoso, Jacob Vargas, and myself that are film veteranos, you understand. And I think it's added quite an anchor of security for the younger actors who are coming out for the first time. It's an exceptional set, you know, and it makes a difference. Makes a difference. No egos here to have to contend, well, this is the first season, so God knows what's going to happen next season.
Ricardo, what's your favorite Mexican food?
Chicken fajitas.
Well, our next story is about a food company that's leading the way in Mexican food manufacturing. Ronaldo's Mexican food manufacturer has just moved from their headquarters in Southgate to their new larger facility in Downey. Ronaldo's has a full line of products from burritos, Mexican cheese, enchiladas, to desserts like rice pudding. But it is their Mexican sausage, chorizo, that has put Ronaldo's ahead of their competition.
Well, chorizo's been made for centuries and different companies have made them. So why is Ronaldo's number one in chorizo? Because of that. Because we were able to develop a better flavor than the other companies.
Ronaldo's has distribution into 8 states, including all the major chains and convenience stores in California. From Albertsons, Ralph's, Food for Less, including Disney's California Adventure. But it was not always like that.
In the last 5 years, the large stores have realized that it's a good business to carry a full line of Mexican food products. Prior to, let's say, 5 years ago, some of the buyers didn't think they should have the full line of Mexican food products. they felt that it would not sell as much, even though some of them would eat the product. But it could have been that the higher ups, their bosses felt different.
What keeps Reinaldo's ahead of its competition?
Coming up with new products, not necessarily new. There being, let's say, there are other companies that make them, but with development to taste better, to look better, so it'll sell. Although there's competition, wherever we go, there's competition. Due to the fact that now you can find burritos in all the 50 states.
What drives you?
Reaching certain goals, that's what motivates me. Like right now, the goal of Reinaldo's, which is part of me, is to go all the way back east.
Do you have any advice for young entrepreneurs wanting to follow in your footsteps?
It's nothing like experience, but it's also nothing like good education. So the problem that you have when you start a business is capital. And that's the biggest thing that can help you back, is not having enough capital. So there's two ways of doing it: is tighten your belt, and also try to borrow money, and as much as possible, and be sure to spend that borrowed money correctly, because once you get behind the payments, you got problems.
What are some of the benefits?
The benefits that you can make money, you can live better off than before. You, in a sense, control your destiny.
Not too far from here is the Los Angeles Council 14th District.
That's where we caught up with Antonio Villagrosa, who ran and won for councilman in that area.
He has come full circle. A product of the 14th District, Antonio worked downtown, shining shoes and selling La Opinión, watching movies at the now historic Orpheum and Los Angeles theaters, to eating at Clifton's cafeteria. Boyle Heights used to be predominantly a Jewish community, but by the 50s, Boyle Heights started to see an influx of Latinos. We asked Antonio what motivated him to get involved politically.
I've often said, I don't know if there was one thing that made me enter politics, but I certainly remember, there's a couple of things I remember. I remember seeing John F. Kennedy's inaugural speech, the civil rights marches, Martin Luther King back then, and the almost being completely overwhelmed by the images of the viciousness of the police in the South against the civil rights marchers. I remember Cesar Chavez back then, early on, in the early years. And I think all of those events, it was an era of hope and optimism for the future, and I think all of those events had a role on getting me involved as a young man at 15 years old.
When Antonio made it to the state capital of California, he made history as the first Latino Speaker of the Assembly.
When I got to Sacramento, it was a partisan den. It was vitriol and finger pointing. The partisanship was so thick you could cut it with a knife. When I became Speaker, I mixed Democrats and Republicans. They sit on different sides of the aisle. I got them to work together. I got 2 budgets on time, only Speaker in 20 years. And I think we did that because we created an atmosphere of bipartisanship.
Antonio was able to defeat incumbent Nick Pacheco without a runoff for an area that some feel has stood still, while other parts of LA have progressed. A major challenge for any experienced political leader.
Well, I actually would take issue with the idea that Boyle Heights has stood still. I think we've actually lost ground over the years. I remember when there were theaters on Brooklyn Avenue, on First Street. I remember when there was a theater in Wabash. I remember when there were markets here, where there were gas stations that took credit cards, where there was an infrastructure. You don't see much of that infrastructure anymore here in Boyle Heights. The crime rate is escalated to an epidemic proportions. I often say it's not just a public safety issue, it's a public health issue when so many young people are killed by gun violence. You said it. These are big challenges facing the 14th Councilmanic District. And I think the 14th Councilmanic District needs big, strong leadership with a track record of getting things done, a consensus builder, leaders who are going to work to create more leaders, because that's, at the end of the day, what a leader is. Leader isn't someone who talks well or, is, charismatic. A leader is someone who's building other leaders, who's creating a base of leadership that will empower a community, and that's what I hope to do.
Comunidad. Community is important when it comes to Latinos, especially when they need to come together to turn something negative into positive.
Our next story is about Rose Espinosa, who was concerned about the negativity in her community, and she did something about it.
It started back in 1990 when Rosie moved back to the neighborhood with her son. And the first thing Rosie noticed were the gang members hanging around and experiencing her first drive-by. It was then that Rosie said she can't live like this. So she went around the neighborhood and had the parents fill out a survey.
And so then from the survey, the one thing that stood out was, the question that I had asked was, do you help your kids with your homework? Majority said no, and I go, well, okay, let's go back and find out why. Well, guess what? I don't understand English. I can't read their homework. I don't understand.
So it was a cultural issue now.
Yes.
It was a language barrier.
That's right. And so I thought, well, I know I can help my son. Maybe I can, after work, instead of going to school like I was going for my bachelor's, I'll put it on hold. I'll start this little thing and start an after-school little program with a few kids. A foundation had asked us to do this, to get the monies that we needed to continue the program. The kids excelled in an 18-month period, 2 grade levels in writing, 3 grade levels in math. It was unbelievable to see what had happened to these kids with 2 hours a day.
I'm sure you take very much pride in doing what you've done in this program, but what are you most proud of?
I really didn't believe that a little simple idea as this would take off. So never throw away your little ideas. Your little ideas are probably the most important thing that will make a world of a difference in your life. So never think, well, if only people with masters or PhDs or people who are in think tanks trying to find out solutions are the ones who can do it. But if you just keep it simple and you have that little idea, never cast it away, because this was just a little idea, and I didn't think I could be the one that could contribute to solving our problem. And look at, here it is.
Sure enough.
We're going to go to the White House and receive the President's Points of Light in the Rose Garden for this program. Don't ever think that little idea is ridiculous. Give it wings and go with it.
Obviously, you've come a long way with this program. What do you see for the future of this program?
More likely than not, this will be what I want to do. This is what I want to teach other low-income neighbors, how to create their own programs, how to generate their own funds, possibly have a foundation that can help those neighborhoods to be able to get their programs up and running. We tend to, as a Latino community, have envy for those who have excelled. And we forget that there's other people that we have to teach how to get there. That you always remember, if you've got an education and you've gotten your bachelor's or you've gotten your master's, always remember to go back and help and teach other people.
LA radio is fierce competition, especially when going after the Latino market.
KPWR, better known as Power 106, is one radio station who stepped up to the plate in going after Latinos in LA and who's not afraid to take a chance on a janitor turned disc jockey who goes by the name of Tito. We're sitting here with one of the most popular DJs in Los Angeles, Tito from Power 106.
Oh, thank you so much. But before I start answering any kind of question, I want to say what's up to everybody representing Latinos USA. Let's go cracking, baby, because it's a real showtime.
Power 106 World Premiere.
Yeah, what's up? This is Dr. Dre. And right about now, you're checking out the good fellas and my man, Tito.
Born in Mexico, Tito never dreamed of becoming a disc jockey, let alone working at Power 106. But in 1994, it was his role as a janitor that led him to the Baker Boys morning show. The Baker Boys would call him into the studio and joke with him on air. It was an instant hit with the audience and with the station. Now, 9 years later, Tito is one of LA's most recognizable DJs.
I'll say hi to my homies from my Latino
Hey,
USA, man.
Tito not even Latino, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. It just works for him here. Really check his background, find out, man, really what's going on. He get away with it. He uses little fake accent, man. The dude is not Latino, I know it. He's not.
Power 106 is #1 4 years in a row, huh?
Well, for number one is a Goodfellas and Tito Show 2003 and Afternoon. Afternoon live the 3 to 7. And now the station, they have almost in a year, there's the hottest station right now in LA. We're beating an English or radio station and Spanish. In English #1 and overall #1 too. We passed the best time in my 9 years in Power 106.
But now, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be ready to jump right away to the great level, yeah, super level, yeah, lobby level, yeah, Compton level, son and #1.
After 21 questions, I get the dog house.
Me too.
By 50 cents a chip.
We hope you enjoyed today's show.
And remember, it's you who can make your dreams a reality.